What if Darth Vader recruited Luke and started an Imperial Civil War? Let's explore the depths of it in the video.
You really love the boy.
He is my own.
Vader closes his eyes and questions why the Force is showing him these visions. He recalls the loudmouth Inquisitor quite well, a minor annoyance during his last mission. Surprisingly, he recalls the man as well, a stepbrother of sorts of his past self. Oh, and Lars. As to why they are fighting, he has no idea, but what truly gets his attention is that boy. Although he only catches a glimpse of him when he tries to escape, a tingle runs across his body. Not only is that boy important, but he can also sense something about their destinies, that they are related in such an intimate way, more so than most people. When he at last exhales, he feels the pull of the Force, urging him to find the boy. That encounter was weeks ago, yet he reasons they are unlikely to have left their hut. Vader had been there long ago, and he still knows where it is. Before anyone even realizes it, he is boarding his starship to Tatooine. On the desert planet, Obi-Wan is still trying to help the couple recover from their recent encounter with Reva. He helps repair the damages, acquire supplies, and talks with Luke. While his parents are still wary of having Obi-Wan so close, they cannot bring themselves to send him away now, not while there is still so much to do. The former Jedi is careful to keep his distance and avoid mentioning the Force. When repairs are complete, he fully intends to disappear back into the desert and live his days out in his hut. But as he takes his first deep breaths, he can sense something is wrong. His heart quickens, though not through his own body. It is as if the Force is trying to get his attention.
Lars, Baru, get Luke inside. I sense something is coming.
The two look at him incredulously, not seeing a thing in sight, but Obi-Wan is on his feet, his weapon flying into his hands as he moves out of the hut. That was not his mind, it was the Force warning him. He has his lightsaber ready, and both quickly grab their blasters and disappear inside the house. Before long, a customized starfighter appears and lands in front of the hut. From the cockpit, a figure emerges. He is draped in dark armor and a red lightsaber in his hands.
Anakin.
Not anymore.
Vader does not answer and simply lunges forward, his lightsaber flashing before him. The blow sends Obi-Wan skidding through the sand as he intercepts it. Looking up, he sees the Dark Lord pulling back and attacking again. The blows are heavy and powerful, backed by anger too ferocious to be anything but personal. His weapon flares to life, and he rains down attacks upon Obi-Wan, his fury growing with each one, and which lends him strength. The final attack is a downward slash that sends sand particles flying everywhere. Obi-Wan leaps back and uses this opportunity to push them towards Vader. They get into the crevices of his armor and leave him grunting in pain. As he stumbles, the Jedi begins his counterattack. His lightsaber flashes, but while Vader tries to clear his suit, he manages to block and sweep low. The Jedi Master leaps overhead and tries to stab at him. It narrowly misses his neck, but he manages to kick Vader back. The Dark Lord stumbles, and Obi-Wan continues hammering him. His lightsaber moves faster as he falls into the rhythm of battle. When they clash again, Obi-Wan holds his ground as sparks fly around him. He moves naturally as his old skills come rushing back. For a moment, they seem evenly matched, but Vader presses his lightsaber down and throws him back. He does not give him a chance to recover as the Sith sweeps low and then rams his shoulder against Obi-Wan. The former Jedi stumbles aside, but before he can rise again, Vader lifts him off the ground and slams him down. Obi-Wan groans and tries to crawl away, but his weapon flies from his grip. Without another word, Vader drives his weapon into his back. The Jedi can only scream as he collapses into the sand. His former apprentice doesn't even spare him a second glance as he walks over his corpse. From inside the hut, blaster fire echoes out in feeble attempts to stop him. Vader parries these strikes with ease and slashes his lightsaber against the hinges. He suddenly thrusts his hand out and sends the door flying inward. There are screams, followed by a few pained grunts as the door finds its target. He finds Owen pinned against the door while Baru tries to take shots at him. The Sith easily blocks these clumsy strikes and then throws his lightsaber into her chest. Lars can only scream as he tries to push the door aside, but it is too heavy. Vader then pulls out his lightsaber from the woman and drives his weapon through the door and into Lars's heart. The man can only let out a scream as his gaze shifts to one of the doors. Vader deactivates his weapon and makes his way over to it. Inside, he finds a young child trying to climb out of a window. He thrusts his hand out, and the boy is yanked towards him. His fingers grip the boy's cheeks as he examines him. When they make contact, another jolt runs through his body. The force is strong in him, but there is more to it. His presence isn't just familiar. There is a part of him within him. The boy tries to wiggle free. Vader tightens his grip, but he reaches into the boy's memories and sees it. Obi-Wan's protection, Reva hunting him, and beyond, to the earliest days the boy has seen. Obi-Wan. He was the one who brought this boy here, and that can only mean one thing. As the boy screams again, Vader's shaken from his thoughts and instinctively pulls away. Then, with surprising gentleness, he strokes the boy's cheek. Luke tries to pull away.
Get away from me. You killed them. My aunt and uncle.
Your aunt and uncle lied to you. Did they tell you your father is dead?
Yes.
That is a lie. Look at me, boy. I am your father.
No. That cannot be. My father was a great warrior. He fought to protect people.
And what am I? Look into your heart. You know it to be true, my son.
Luke continues to shake his head, but as he feels Vader reaching out, he can sense something, a strange stirring within him that tries to reach out. It is more than just passing thought. It is primal connection that is awoken deep within. And yet, with that power, he can see flashes of Vader. The sight of him on a metal table. From a burned ember, he sees the armor descending upon his mangled flesh. When Vader reaches out, his hand is surprisingly gentle, and Luke can tell what he says is true.
If what you would say is true, why did they keep it from me?
Because you have a great destiny ahead of you, my boy. You are no mere farm boy, an inheritor of a great destiny that can change the entire galaxy. That is why I am here, to teach you and show you the way, so that you will be fit to fulfill your destiny, my boy.
And then, he offers his hand to help Luke rise. He stares up at it, unsure whether he should take it or not. But as he looks around, at the ruins of the house he called his home, at the people he called family, he realizes that there is nothing left for him here, and then takes his hand. Despite all of his promises, Vader knows that he cannot publicly show off his son. As far as anyone knows, both he and Anakin Skywalker are dead. To show him off would raise questions, such as whether he was raising an apprentice against Palpatine. So instead, he decides to keep Luke in his castle, and there he begins to raise him as his apprentice. Unsurprisingly, the young apprentice knows little of the Force. Obi-Wan had decided not to tell him anything about it, but it matters little. He was even older when he began to learn about the Force. Luke's first introduction to the Force is shocking, to say the least. Vader does not pull any punches or focus on philosophies, save for the matters of the dark side. He does not teach it as a mystical power, but as a tool. Only he and a handful of others can use it. As a result, this focuses entirely on the practical, with Vader showing him how to use it in combat, harness it in times of stress, and focus his energy. Alongside that, he shows the boy how to wield a lightsaber, understanding military tactics, and learning about the Empire. To the young farm boy who had grown up on Tatooine, the Empire always seemed like a distant entity, an insurmountable monolith, but also as a place of opportunity where the best and brightest could rise. Vader shatters all that with his stories of it. He speaks of it as a hierarchy in which thousands of souls compete for power, and Luke, with his command of the Force, has a distinct advantage. With that and his father's support, he may rise high.
Every year, 1,000 unworthy souls enter the ranks of the Imperial bureaucracy, military, and government. All stunningly mediocre, or blindingly corrupt as the last. Your rise must come with their fall.
Then who may I trust to help me?
No one, my boy. No one save for me. To trust anyone in the Empire is a death sentence.
And when he says that, there is such conviction in his voice that Luke falls silently. Although Vader does not say it, he feels protective of his son. He had grown up not knowing who his father was, and Vader would not allow anyone to take him away from him. Though he never says it, this protectiveness shows itself in how gentle he treats Luke, never trying to hurt him when showing him Force abilities, unlike Palpatine, how he guides him through lightsaber movements, and how he gives his silent nods each time Luke succeeds in a complex maneuver. Over the years, he grows into a talented warrior, but he is not entirely as Vader would like. While he does practice the dark side, hatred and anger do not flow naturally in his son. If anything, he remains conflicted on that front. Rather, Luke seems to question these teachings to no end, much to Vader's annoyance. He lacks the innate cruelty of most Sith, but that does not stop him from rising high. Vader knows that Luke cannot remain hidden forever. If he is to take over the Empire, then he must make himself public. So instead, he has his son enter the Imperial Academy, where Vader uses his connections to secure him a position within his Death Squadron. There, the boy makes a name for himself as one of the most gifted TIE pilots in the Empire. By now, rebellion is in full swing, and fighting spreads across the Outer Rim, and Luke becomes a terror in the skies. He soon racks up more kills than anyone in Death Squadron, but his victory in the sky isn't the only place he enjoys success. On the ground, Luke also leads the Imperial Army and Stormtrooper Corps, but he develops an unusual reputation. Many of their commanders rule with an iron fist, ruling with fear and punishment, yet Luke tries to change that system. He turns his attention to corrupt Imperial officials and government officials, and censures them if he finds them abusing their power. On Ryloth, he refuses to punish miners who revolt after learning that Orn-Free Ta had been making them work in unsafe conditions. He even threatens to have the garrison recalled if changes are not made. He then punishes the governor of Selukami for taking bribes in their spaceport to provide chain codes, and has the governor executed. On Sheely, he demands the Imperials show respect for local customs, including demolishing several buildings that were built on sacred land. The only reason he was able to try this was thanks to Vader, who provided his backing. Those Imperials who speak out find themselves threatened, or simply executed for it. But the effect is felt immediately. Although only a colonel, Luke quickly gains a reputation as one of the good Imperials, and many see his rise as a chance to reform the Empire. Soon, men begin to rally around Luke. While Vader was not joking when he said that most of the Empire's people are corrupt and incompetent, there remained the rare few who proved to be worthy of their power. These men, from veterans of the Clone Wars to idealistic young officers fresh from the Academy, all see the problems with the Empire and gravitate towards Luke, the one person capable of bringing change. These men offer him support militarily, financially, or through the resources of their worlds. Vader sees this as their opportunity to at last turn against Palpatine, as Luke's forces grow so large that he even forms his own army, an army with the backing of several Imperial worlds. With this new army, Luke continues his campaign against the rebellion, now with not just soldiers, but also politicians who use his story as a nobody farm boy from the Outer Rim to their advantage. As they tell his story, he emphasizes the lawlessness of his upbringing, the domination of the Hutt clans, and the dangers of Tusken raids to portray the Empire as a force of order. It justifies not just their push into the region, but also why they must destroy the Rebel Alliance. Yet at the same time, he also continues to reach out to rebel cells and offers them a position in this new order. He provides some groups with amnesty to prove that the reformists are sincere in wanting to change the Empire. While the hardliners refuse, more moderate cells take him up on this offer. The simple fact is that the reformists provide them with something they want: a seat at the table. Under Luke's faction, they can push their agenda legitimately, as well as continue their fight. Meanwhile, those who refuse are easily villainized, as Luke can claim he had given them a fair chance at surrender and coming to terms. Yet, Palpatine watches this new faction growing with concern. He can tell that they pose a threat to his rule. If enough people rally around Luke, he might gain the ability to demand change and openly challenge Palpatine's authority. So he now begins to take steps to challenge him. The capital of Argaius lies under fire in the aftermath of battle. Once a gleaming jewel of culture and trade, it now serves as a battleground between the Empire and a rebellious faction within the planet. Luke had gotten word of the uprising as the rebels tried to seize the capital and move to assist the local defense forces. It starts with the usual storm of TIE bombers and fighters that fill the sky, screening the arrival of a Star Destroyer. The bombers strike at critical facilities and defense fortifications. Anti-air weapons, radars, and supply depots are targeted and taken out in quick succession. This is followed by the gunships and shuttles that soon deploy Luke and his ground troops. The general moves through the city, lightsaber flashing as men advance deeper. While rebels take potshots and try to stop them, the advance is inexorable. Soldiers fight not just because they're told to, but because Luke is leading them. His lightsaber flashes in a blinding arc as he creates a barrier to protect his troops from stray blaster fire. His presence seems to fill them with vigor as stormtroopers march with renewed purpose, rallying behind him. Even the local forces seem to fight with sky-high morale. Between that and their overwhelming power, the rebels are soon driven from the city. As Luke retakes control of the city center, he is joined by the local Moff, an aging officer with cold blue eyes and self-assured arrogance. The young Imperial tries to ignore them. He's heard reports that he was as much a cause for this unrest as the rebels and intends to deal with him and his staff. He would like to behead them now, but instead holds it back until the planet is secure. Vader advises Luke while commanding the fleet from orbit, but the Moff is making it difficult as he's been busy redirecting resources, ignoring supply requests, and moving his troops independently. Luke has tolerated it in hopes of keeping the fragile situation stable, but today, Ross goes too far. And then he hears what happened in the markets. One of Luke's own men breathlessly explains what he saw, soldiers looting what remains of the shops, using the ensuing chaos to fill their pockets with whatever they can get.
What is the meaning of this, Moff?
These men haven't been paid since this rebellion started. They had hoped your fleet would have brought their wages too. I thought this might keep them disciplined for a time.
By attacking our people?
It is not as if they had much left anyway. What is a bit more loss?
Tell them to stand down.
Tell them yourself.
Dozens of stormtroopers raise their rifles towards Luke. The officers surrounding the table back away slightly, sensing something unnatural stir in the air. The lights overhead flicker. The holomap on the table glitches, then crackles into silence. And then, with a gesture that is almost casual, Luke raises his hand. The rifles of the nearest troopers rip themselves free from their hands, flung across the room by an invisible force. A second later, his lightsaber ignites. Some officers shout. One loyalist draws a sidearm and fires. Luke deflects the bolts without flinching. In seconds, the room erupts into chaos. Luke moves with controlled fury. He ducks, deflects, and uses the force to fling a squad of troopers into the far wall. Sparks fly as consoles explode. Officers dive for cover, and boots scrape against stone. This time, he does not hold back and butchers them where they stand. As more stormtroopers arrive, he unleashes a powerful shockwave that shatters the glass and throws them against the wall. Luke stands in the center of the room, lightsaber still humming in his hand, breathing hard but steady. Around him, the floor is littered with wreckage and the dead. The secret is out. When Vader finds out, he is furious.
You revealed yourself.
I didn't have a choice. They would have killed civilians. They were sacking the city.
You should have let them. This is war. We do not have the luxury of protecting every peasant from the Empire's wrath. You risked everything for sentiment.
I risked everything because you told me we were fighting these people because of their corruption. And now when I fight them, you say I should look the other way.
There is a time and place to fight. Never interrupt your opponent when he is in the process of making a mistake.
Even when that mistake costs lives?
Enough. I told you that we can only win if we do not make the same mistakes as them.
I also seem to recall you telling me that we were supposed to be better than them.
With that, Luke storms off, leaving Vader to ponder everything. While he certainly was upset, a part of him was also proud of his son. For the first time, he had truly seen his anger flowing and witnessed the power he possessed. It was everything he believed possible, and more. Yet, just as Palpatine hears of this, he immediately seizes on the opportunity. The Emperor frames this attack as an attempt to seize power. Instead, the young general is the one who instigated this conflict in an attempt to gain power, and the unfortunate Moff had discovered his dealings with a rebellion. Palpatine calls for the Senate to place a warrant on Luke and Vader, saying that they have been using the rebellion to grow their influence. Even with their allies, the government remains firmly under Palpatine's thumb, and they agree. Soon enough, a massive fleet is sent out into the Outer Rim to punish Vader and Luke. Seeing that they have no other choice, they declare war on the Empire, and the Reformists gather all their allies in this endeavor. Clashes begin all across the galaxy as both sides fight for border territory. The Empire soon learns that the Reformists are more powerful than they realize. While their fleet is not massive, they have the support of entire Imperial systems. These furnish them with funds, weapons, and maintenance facilities. This allows them to wage a protracted war like the Rebellion, and even face the Empire on equal footing from time to time. More importantly, the quality of their soldiers and officers is far better than those of the Empire. Vader had spent years hand-selecting the very best the Empire had to offer. These soldiers and administrators now put their skills to good use. The war effort functions like a well-oiled machine. Meanwhile, the Imperial Navy is bogged down by corruption and bureaucracy. Many battles are lost because rival fleets refuse to assist one another. Officers hoard weapons and refuse to use them, or incompetent officers make basic mistakes. In contrast, the Reformists fight with proven tactics, honed thanks to the expertise of their rebel allies. They organize the Reformist fleets into smaller groups, so each time an Imperial detachment attacks them, they strike from all directions, overpowering ground forces while their starfighters overwhelm the fleet in space. This allows them to not hold just the Empire back, but hold in several key systems. The initial offensive soon collapses and forces Palpatine to rethink his strategy. Meanwhile, this success causes more planets to join the Reformists. Now, the difference between them is seen in broad daylight. Many are now chanting for change, fueled by Luke's success. Across the holofeed, Palpatine watches as pro-reformist protests rally across the Empire. Some of them are doing this in defiance of standing orders. While some are furious, Palpatine sees the solution. It is not enough to simply destroy them militarily. He must destroy their ideals as well, and show them they are meaningless. A second attack is coordinated, but this time they are launched across a broad front instead of just a single area. Practically the entire border region of the Reformist-controlled space comes under attack, while isolated planets are swept aside. Luke and Vader try their best to defend these places, but this time they are playing to the Empire's strengths, its massive resources and endless manpower. Soon, some systems are retaken, and the Reformists must make hasty retreats. Each defeat weighs heavily on Luke, who watches as planet by planet falls. Though he tries to defend them as best he can, the numbers between the two factions are too great, and it continues to grow. With these defeats, some places reconsider their allegiance and return to the Empire, where Palpatine offers generous terms. Vader is concerned by this trend as well, and sees their forces slowly being pushed back. He continues to meet with Luke and formulate strategies. However, his mind is elsewhere. To him, the war is just a front and a sideshow. It isn't the real battle, since he realizes the only way to bring the Empire to its end is by killing Palpatine. To battle against his army is just a waste of resources, but taking the head of the monster will leave the rest of his cronies helpless. To that effect, Vader begins searching for new weapons that can give them the advantage. He looks through the ancient artifacts of the Sith and begins gathering whatever he can, using the war as a distraction. So far, he manages to find some old holocrons and old technology, but nothing truly game-changing. Within the hollow chamber of his private quarters aboard the Tyrant's Fist, Vader kneels before an ancient Sith holocron. Its jagged pyramid form glows with a pulsing red light. The voice of Darth Tenebris, deep, echoing, and laced with madness emanating from within.
I have long sought ways to expand my power. While many call the Force magic and view it as mysticism, I believe it is merely a science we have not yet discovered. Through my experiments, I have learned how to alter the midichlorians within me, but the effects are mixed.
The holocron reveals more than forgotten philosophy. It shows schematics, maps, and experiment logs, entries logged in madness, data spikes of midichlorian mutations. As Vader reviews it, he can see the potential in it as Tenebris refers to the powers, and it has affected his force powers. With the right testing and perhaps properly synthesized, it could make for a powerful weapon. Vader rises. Luke and Vader descend into the buried lab beneath a dead planet's ashen plains. They push through a crust of black stone to reach a jagged laboratory buried beneath the surface. The entrance is sealed in obsidian and bone. Vader raises a gauntlet, channels the Force, and shatters it with a seismic pulse. A wave of decay spills out, dust, ancient blood, and something fouler beneath. Inside, they descend into a narrow corridor etched with ancient Sith sigils. The walls pulse faintly with red energy. Screeches erupt, guardian beasts awaking from centuries of slumber. Hulking creatures, malformed by Sith alchemy, charge from the shadows. They are armored in chitinous bone and bleed black ichor. Luke ignites his saber and springs into motion. He uses the Force to throw them back and clears a path. One beast lunges at Luke, and he sidesteps, then drives his blade into its ribs. But another barrels into him from behind, knocking him into a wall. Vader crushes it mid-leap with the Force, its ribcage snapping inward like a cage closing. Vader moves beside him, slower but methodical, each blow lethal. Yet, when they get close, they feel the full might of his fury, as many are cut to ribbons. More emerge. The fight turns brutal, blades flashing in red gloom, roars echo through the dark. At last, surrounded by corpses and steaming blood, they press onward. They reach it at last. A chamber filled with suspended tanks, shattered consoles, and a central pedestal. On it sits a metallic sphere with a clear liquid inside. Though it appears plain, they sense unspeakable power inside. What is that thing?
Maxi-chlorians, invented by Darth Tenebris to try and strengthen himself and bend the Force to his will. He failed.
And you intend to try where he failed?
No. His plan was doomed, just as Palpatine's is to live forever. But still, this compound could have its uses as a weapon.
He activates the console. A flickering projection emerges, an ancient log from Tenebris himself, his form barely coherent, wrapped by age and power. It talks about how he had managed to inject himself, and yet he finds his powers are diminished, weaker than before, as some abilities are lost entirely. Yet when Luke watches it, he is horrified.
This is perversion. It's not a weapon. It's a curse.
It may be both, but with it we could drain the Force from Palpatine, render him vulnerable.
Luke studies the sphere. The crystals twitch subtly in the Force as if alive. It hums with a low frequency, dark, hungry. The sight of it doesn't leave his mind as they take the Maxichlorians back into their ship and begin studying them. Vader's attention is now fully transfixed on this new weapon, seeing new possibilities even as their forces are steadily being pushed back on all fronts. Yet Luke remains concerned about what this weapon can truly do. He observes his father from a distance, throwing all his time to studying the makeup of these Maxichlorians, studying its weapon potential, and drawing up schematics for their weapon. Luke watches from a distance, watching as the components of the bomb are being assembled. The bomb pulses faintly in the Force, a heartbeat of corruption. It feels like gravity pulling at him, as if the Force itself recoils from it. Luke's fingers twitch by his side. He's read the notes, studied the pulses, run simulations. The vessel doesn't just sever Sith powers. It would affect everything Force-sensitive within hundreds of kilometers. Anything with midichlorians. While they might not lead to any death, there will be health effects, and that is just what he understands. To the young Imperial, the cost is too high. When Vader goes to command the group forces in battle, Luke orders the bomb loaded up on his ship. He says that it is to give a test run on the bomb. The stormtroopers, while confused, do not argue with the general and load the weapon at the belly of his starfighter. Soon, his ship cuts across the void and disappears into hyperspace. He makes for Belsavis, an ancient and sealed prison world, where he intends to bury the weapon deep beneath the surface and detonate it. But as he journeys there, Vader realizes it as well. He has sensed his son's suspicions and hopes that he would not try fighting Progress. Unfortunately, it seems that he did not understand the importance of this weapon. So when Luke arrives at Belsavis, he can sense something is off. Suddenly, his ship is pulled from course by an invisible grip. It shakes, twists, then is forced to land in a valley of jagged cliffs beneath a gray and thunderous sky. Lightning crackles as Luke steps from the ramp, lightsaber already in hand. Vader descends from a ridge above him, cloak billowing in the wind, his saber igniting in crimson fire.
What are you doing? You would destroy everything we built.
We didn't build anything. We stole technology we barely understand and are playing with fire. I'm trying to stop it before we get burned.
Palpatine cannot be defeated without sacrifice.
Whose sacrifice? The people we're supposed to defend? If that's the case, then I won't accept it.
The wind howls between them. There is no more debate. They charge. Their sabers clash like thunder, blue and red striking across the ruins of ancient stone. Luke is faster now, more precise. As Vader swings at him, he slides through these attacks and leaps clear of them. Luke lands in the sand and brings his weapon down. His father catches this weapon and slides back, his cape billowing around him. Then he pulls his weapon back and advances. His weapon comes crashing down like a battering ram as he strikes down at Luke. Each of these blows would seriously injure him if they land, but though the blows force them back, the younger Skywalker leaps. He doesn't meet each attack head-on, but lets the blade slide against it, directing Vader's fury sliding past. Oddly enough, he can sense some hesitation in his father. He is not aiming to kill, just trying to incapacitate him. He pushes Vader back and tries again, but the Dark Lord's cloak flashes in front of him and spoils his attack. His father then shoves him back with the Force. Vader's strength begins to overwhelm him. Luke's arms buckle under the heavy strikes. He rolls back, hurls a boulder with the Force, but Vader cleaves it in half and barrels forward, driving Luke into a wall.
Stop this madness. It is not too late.
You're right. It isn't.
He suddenly shoves his hand forward, and Vader feels himself being pushed back. In an instant, Luke is rushing towards him. His lightsaber whirls around him, kicking up the sand from the ground in the air before directing it towards Vader. The particles get into his breathing apparatus and leave him gasping in surprise. It clogs up his respirators and leaves him falling to his knees. When he looks up, Luke's lightsaber is at his throat.
Do it then, my boy. Claim your destiny.
No, I will not. I'm not going to make the same mistakes as you or the rest of the Sith.
Suddenly, a new presence rips through the forest like a blade. Palpatine. He descends from a low-orbit shuttle with 4 Inquisitors flanking him, cloaks swirling, blades ready. His face is twisted in disgust, yet hungry. He senses the bomb. He knows what it is.
So the rumors are indeed true. You are seeking to forge a weapon of such power. Tell me, did you truly not expect me to find it?
This power isn't for you to wield. It isn't for anyone.
No, just not for the weak.
Inquisitors rush forward, lightsabers snap to life. Luke watches them surround him and begins to defend against their attacks. He whirls and dodges their strikes, feeling them rain down on him. Miraculously, Luke's weapon moves back and forth, always where it is needed in stopping these strikes. But he still remains outnumbered, and one lucky strike cuts him across the arm, leaving him grimacing. Yet before the Inquisitor can finish the attack, Vader's hand pulls him forward to his waiting lightsaber. He stands beside his son, and the two hold off the attacks. That is, until Palpatine unleashes his lightning strike and sends them both leaping back. Palpatine laughs as he rushes forward, followed closely by his Inquisitors in another barrage of attacks. The two of them barely hold him back, but as Luke parries some strikes, he notices the bomb in the corner. Luke steps back and closes his eyes. He reaches out with the Force.
Do it and you will die with me.
Yet, the Jedi does not care and continues to channel his power. The artifact erupts, not in fire, but in silence. A black wave pulses outward. The midichlorians vanish at its edge. The Inquisitors scream as their connection vanishes. Palpatine falters, staggered. His power begins to unravel. Threads cut from the source. Luke watches as the darkness pulls toward him, closing his eyes as he prepares for it. But then, Vader leaps forward and channels the Force around him. He twists the blast away from his son, even as he is caught in it. The Dark Lord screams, feeling his body shaking as the power is overwhelming, and strips away his Force bit by bit. By the time it passes, he drops to the ground. His armor smokes, circuits die, but he shields Luke with the last of his will. The wave fades. The world is still. Palpatine lies broken at the far edge, breathing ragged.
You saved me.
Someone must carry the fire, and you are the most fitting.
Luke helps his father to his feet. Palpatine tries to squirm away, but a single blow is all it takes to remove his head. Rumors swirl that he was destroyed, and others say that he fled to the unknown regions. Whatever the answer, the result is the same. The loss of their head cripples the rest of the body, and many Imperials, weak-willed and helpless, surrender without a fight. This allows them to sweep up the remaining Imperial forces and brings the Civil War to an end. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.